Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Emily, and today we're diving into something every single one of us has probably wondered about: 10 power signals that trigger instant attraction. You know, those tiny little gestures, glances, or vibes that can make your heart skip a beat, but almost nobody notices them at first. Most people completely misread these signs because they don't look like attraction at all. Sometimes it's in the way someone laughs at your jokes, or even how they slightly mirror your movements without thinking. By the end of this video, you'll start seeing these cues everywhere: at work, at the coffee shop, even at the gym, and trust me, it'll make social interactions so much more interesting. So, if you've ever wondered if someone's secretly into you, or just wanted to decode those confusing signals, stick around, because what I'm about to share could change the way you notice attraction forever. The thing is, attraction is rarely obvious. We've all been there, talking to someone, feeling a spark, and yet completely unsure if they feel it back. You might catch a lingering glance or a slight smile, but then second-guess yourself because maybe they're just being friendly. Honestly, you're not alone. Most people completely misread attraction signals, and it's not because they're oblivious. It's because human behavior is subtle, complex, and sometimes contradictory. Think about it. Society tells us to be polite, restrained, and composed. So when someone is attracted to you, they don't usually march up and announce it with a neon sign. Instead, their interest leaks out in micro-moments, the little things they do without realizing it. Maybe it's brushing hair out of their face while looking at you, leaning in just slightly when you speak, or nervously fidgeting with a cup of coffee. All of these are tiny breadcrumbs, and when ignored, they leave you wondering if there's any real connection at all. It's even trickier because people have different ways of showing interest. Some are bold and obvious, while others are shy, subtle, or playful. And if you've ever tried to decode signals, you know it can feel like solving a puzzle without all the pieces. One person's nervous laughter might be attraction, while another's could just be shyness. That's why even intelligent, socially aware people can feel completely confused when it comes to interpreting romantic interest. But here's the good news. Despite all the variations, there are patterns. Certain behaviors show up again and again when someone is genuinely interested. And these patterns aren't random. They're rooted in psychology, biology, and social cues that trigger attraction. Once you start noticing them, it's like suddenly turning on a light in a room you've been fumbling around in for ages. Those little signs that seemed invisible before, suddenly, they're impossible to miss. By understanding these patterns, you can not only read attraction more accurately, but also become more aware of your own behaviors. You'll start seeing how subtle actions, from a glance to a gesture to a playful tease, carry emotional weight. And trust me, once you know what to look for, navigating the dating world gets a whole lot easier. Before we dive into the list of power signals, I want to pause for a quick reality check. Not everyone acts the same way when they're attracted to someone. People are complex, and culture, personality, and past experiences all shape how they express interest. Some are bold and obvious, while others are subtle and almost invisible. That's why what I'm sharing today are common patterns, not rules set in stone. Think of them as helpful clues rather than guarantees. Also, attraction doesn't always mean romance is guaranteed. Someone might show multiple signs of interest, but circumstances, timing, or personal reasons can still get in the way. The point here is awareness. Noticing these cues allows you to understand social dynamics better and respond in ways that feel natural and confident. It's not about manipulating anyone. It's about reading human behavior, just like you'd notice a friend's mood or a coworker's energy. Now, with that in mind, let's talk about why these signs are so powerful. Human beings are wired to pick up on subtle cues, tiny movements, gestures, or even unconscious habits. These cues often reveal feelings that words alone cannot. For example, someone might hesitate before sitting next to you, subconsciously trying to gauge your reaction. Or they might mirror your posture without realizing it, signaling a psychological connection. These behaviors are rooted in biology and psychology, and once you recognize them, you'll see patterns you previously missed. Over the next few sections, I'm going to walk you through 10 power signals that trigger instant attraction. These are signals that, when noticed, make social interactions far more transparent and even exciting. From subtle glances to body language and online interactions, each signal is a window into someone's genuine interest. Some are playful, some are intuitive, and some are downright fascinating once you understand the psychology behind them. By the end of this video, you'll not only know what to look for, but also how to interpret these signals confidently. You'll notice them in real-life scenarios, at a party, on a date, or even just in casual encounters. And once you can recognize these patterns, you'll start seeing the world of social attraction with fresh eyes. So, keep an open mind, pay attention, and remember, these are common behaviors, not guarantees. With that said, let's jump into the first power signal, and trust me, it's one that most people completely overlook. Have you ever been talking to someone and suddenly their eyes just hold yours a little too long? Not in a creepy way, but in that subtle, almost magnetic way that makes you feel like they're seeing right through you. That, my friends, is one of the most powerful signs of attraction, and it's often the first thing people completely miss. I remember a night out with my friends at a local coffee shop. I was chatting with a guy I'd met briefly a week before, just casual conversation, and I noticed something weird. Every time I said something, he would pause, smile softly, and his eyes would just linger. At first, I thought I was imagining it. But as the evening went on, it kept happening. He was holding my gaze longer than normal. That tiny pause, that extra second, communicated more than words ever could. Here's why it works. Psychologically, our eyes are like windows into our emotions. When someone is genuinely interested, their brain increases focus on the object of attraction. Prolonged eye contact releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which subtly makes both people feel closer and more connected. It's biology at work, not just flirting. And even if the person isn't consciously thinking, their body language betrays them. But here's the thing, subtlety is key. Too much staring can feel awkward or intimidating. The magic is in that brief, lingering gaze that says, "I'm paying attention to you more than usual." It's different from casual eye contact because it carries emotional weight. It's intentional, yet almost unintentional, like your brain just can't help itself. So, what should you do if you notice this? First, acknowledge it internally. Don't overanalyze or panic. It's easy to start second-guessing and read too much into every movement. Instead, let the moment flow naturally. If someone's holding your gaze like that, it's a subtle invitation to engage more. Maybe lean in slightly, smile, or continue the conversation in a more personal direction. These little adjustments create a feedback loop. The more attention and comfort you show, the more the attraction signals grow stronger. Another thing to notice is context. Eye contact during laughter, shared jokes, or casual conversation often carries more weight than informal or forced interactions. When someone smiles genuinely while holding your gaze, it's a powerful double cue. Both the eyes and the expression are signaling interest. On the flip side, a fleeting glance or darting eyes usually mean the person is nervous or not interested, so those micro differences matter. Here's a little secret. Even subtle eye contact can trigger attraction in both directions. You might find yourself feeling drawn to someone simply because they've held your gaze, even if you weren't consciously aware of it at first. That's why eye contact is often called one of the most primal and undeniable power signals. It's immediate, intimate, and nearly impossible to fake consistently. In short, if you notice someone holding your eyes a beat longer than usual, pay attention. It's not a coincidence. That small, lingering gaze could be the first breadcrumb in a trail of attraction, and once you recognize it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. At the coffee shop, in a classroom, at work, or even during casual conversations with friends of friends. Have you ever been talking to someone and noticed that they suddenly start matching your movements? Maybe you cross your legs and a few seconds later, they do the same. Or you lean forward and they lean forward too, almost unconsciously. That, my friends, is called mirroring, and it's one of the clearest yet most overlooked signals of attraction. I experienced this firsthand last summer at a rooftop party in downtown Chicago. I was chatting with a guy I'd met through mutual friends, just casual small talk about music and work. I noticed that when I took a sip of my drink, he did the same. When I laughed, he tilted his head in exactly the same way. At first, I thought, okay, that's weird, but then I realized it wasn't forced, it was completely natural. It was his subconscious way of connecting with me. So, why does this happen? Psychologically, humans have a natural tendency to mimic behaviors of people they like or feel close to. It's called the chameleon effect. When someone mirrors your gestures, posture, or even speech patterns, it's their brain's way of creating rapport and signaling compatibility. Essentially, their body is saying, I feel in sync with you, without them even thinking about it. The subtlety is what makes it so powerful. Mirroring isn't about copying everything. It's tiny, almost imperceptible cues, a hand movement here, a laugh there. And yet, these tiny gestures create a deep sense of connection, often before either person realizes it. That's why you might feel drawn to someone almost instantly, even without fully understanding why. Now, let's talk about the practical side. If you notice someone mirroring your movements, it's a strong indicator that they're engaged and interested. It doesn't guarantee romantic attraction. They could just be naturally empathetic, but combined with other signals, it's a compelling clue. And here's the fun part. Mirroring is contagious. If you subtly mirror their movements back, it reinforces the connection and can make the interaction feel effortless and magnetic. It's also worth noting when mirroring shows up in conversation style. Someone who repeats your phrases, tone, or even favorite words is doing the same thing verbally that they're doing physically. These linguistic mirrors are just as powerful as the physical ones because they subconsciously signal alignment and interest. Of course, context matters. Mirroring works best in relaxed, natural settings, like a casual gathering, a coffee chat, or a walk in the park. If it feels forced or overly deliberate, it loses its charm and can feel awkward. The key is subtlety and natural timing. That's why it's often so easy to miss. It's the small gestures that count the most. So next time you're chatting with someone and notice them subtly copying your movements, take a mental note. That tiny alignment isn't random. It's their body sending a clear message. They feel in sync with you. And once you start recognizing this pattern, you'll begin to notice it everywhere, in friendships, dates, even networking events. It's one of those invisible signals that instantly builds attraction without a single word. One of the most fun and surprisingly telling signs of attraction is playful teasing. You know, those little jokes or lighthearted digs that feel a bit flirty but never cross the line into mean-spirited territory. When someone does this with you, it's often their way of showing interest while keeping things casual and fun. I remember meeting Jake at a summer music festival in Austin. We were talking about our favorite bands, and I casually mentioned I didn't like one of his top picks. He immediately smirked and said, "Wow, I didn't think anyone could dislike that band. Are you sure we can still be friends?" It was teasing but playful, and it made me laugh. That moment instantly made the interaction feel electric. He wasn't just joking, he was testing the waters, creating a connection, and signaling interest all at once. Why does teasing work? Psychologically, humor and light teasing create a safe tension, a push and pull dynamic that sparks attraction. It shows that someone is comfortable enough with you to be playful, and at the same time, it subtly communicates that they're paying attention to your reactions. The way they tease you, the timing, and their expressions all carry emotional information. Playful teasing also triggers a psychological effect called the Ben Franklin effect, where small challenges or light conflict actually increase likability and perceived closeness. When someone teases you in a fun way, your brain responds with heightened attention and emotional engagement. That's why a quick joke or flirty jab can feel way more intimate than a simple compliment. The key here is subtlety. The best teasing doesn't feel forced or mean. It's personalized, playful, and responsive to how you react. Someone who's genuinely attracted will pick up on your cues and adjust, laughing when you laugh, pausing if you seem unsure, and keeping the tone light and enjoyable. On the flip side, generic or aggressive teasing usually signals little more than casual banter, so context matters. Another reason this is such a powerful attraction signal is that it often blends with other cues. Paired with lingering eye contact or subtle touches, playful teasing becomes almost impossible to ignore. It's like the person is sending multiple breadcrumbs of interest simultaneously, giving you a deeper sense of connection without needing to say it outright. If you notice someone teasing you in a playful, attentive way, it's a strong indicator that they're engaged and interested. And here's a little tip. Don't be afraid to tease back or respond with humor. This reciprocal play creates a dynamic exchange that strengthens connection and attraction naturally. So next time someone playfully teases you, whether it's about your music taste, your coffee order, or how you always win at trivia, pay attention. That teasing is more than just fun banter. It's their way of showing interest, building a bond, and keeping things lively, all subtle, powerful signs that attraction is in the air. One of the most understated yet powerful signs of attraction is effort, the small ways someone shows up for you, even when it's inconvenient. Consistent presence isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing that they prioritize spending time with you, noticing when you're around, and making themselves available without being asked. I remember a few months ago when I started a new yoga class in Los Angeles. One of the instructors, Ryan, caught my attention immediately, not because he was strikingly handsome, but that's beside the point, but because he always seemed to be around whenever I went to class. Sometimes I'd think, okay, coincidence, but then I'd see him at the same coffee shop afterward or running into him at a local bookstore. It wasn't constant, overbearing attention, but there was a clear pattern. He made himself present in subtle, natural ways. Psychologically, effort signals interest because human beings naturally invest energy in things they value. When someone consistently shows up in your life, whether physically, emotionally, or socially, it's an unconscious demonstration that you matter to them. Unlike the flashy gestures you see in movies, this type of attention is low-key, but highly telling. It builds trust, familiarity, and a sense of emotional connection over time. Effort can show up in many forms. Maybe they check in with a text when they know you have a big day coming, or they remember small details from past conversations. Maybe they invite you to events, even casually, showing that they want to share experiences with you. The common thread is intentionality. They're making choices that put you into their life on purpose. One thing that makes this signal particularly reliable is consistency. Occasional effort might be random or situational, but when someone repeatedly demonstrates thoughtfulness, presence, and engagement, it's much harder to dismiss. That consistent attention communicates value and attraction without a single word. Of course, this isn't about being controlling or overbearing. Healthy effort respects boundaries, feels natural, and doesn't come with strings attached. The subtlety is what makes it a power signal. It's not, I must impress you energy. It's, I want to be here with you energy. That distinction matters because attraction is about genuine interest, not obligation. Here's an example from my own experience. I was planning a weekend hiking trip with friends, and Ryan happened to organize a casual meetup nearby just to coincide with it. It wasn't a big production, but the fact that he thought ahead and made it happen quietly spoke volumes. That small effort created a sense of anticipation and comfort, showing me he genuinely wanted to spend time with me. Effort also pairs beautifully with other signals like eye contact, humor, and mirroring. When you start noticing a pattern, lingering gazes, playful teasing, subtle mirroring, and consistent presence, you can almost map out their interest without them saying a single word. It's like decoding a secret language of attraction. So next time someone is consistently showing up in your life, paying attention to details, or making subtle gestures to spend time with you, take note. These small, thoughtful efforts are powerful signals that they care, and they're often more telling than grand proclamations. Consistent presence says, I enjoy being around you, and I want to be a part of your world. And once you recognize it, you'll start seeing how many people express attraction in this quiet, meaningful way every day. In today's world, attraction isn't just about in-person interactions. It's also online. How someone texts you, reacts to your social media posts, or engages in subtle digital ways can be just as telling as physical cues. For example, maybe they're always the first to reply to your messages, or they send quick reactions to your stories, even when it's something small. These tiny actions show that you're on their mind and that they value connecting with you. It's their way of maintaining presence and interest when face-to-face isn't possible. I remember chatting with a guy named Luke through a dating app last year. He didn't just respond to my messages. He remembered little details from our past conversations, sent follow-up questions, and reacted to my posts in ways that felt personal. Those small digital touches made me feel seen and noticed, creating a connection that carried over into real life. The emotional weight of digital signals is significant because they require conscious attention. Even a tiny, like, or thoughtful comment reflects effort and interest. In today's world, noticing these signs can be a modern shortcut to understanding someone's feelings. And that's a wrap on the 10 power signals that trigger instant attraction. If you've noticed these signs, lingering eye contact, mirroring, playful teasing, consistent effort, or even subtle digital touches, chances are it's not a coincidence. These small cues often reveal interest long before words ever do. Now, here's the fun part. Start paying attention in your daily life. Watch for the tiny gestures, the subtle mirrors, and the little signs of effort. You'll begin to notice patterns you completely missed before, and it can change the way you connect with people, both romantically and socially. I want to hear from you. Which of these signals have you spotted in someone recently? Or maybe you've used some of these yourself without realizing it. Drop your experiences in the comments below. I love reading your stories and insights. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you want more tips on decoding human behavior and attraction. I'll see you next week with another video you won't want to miss.